Hello and welcome to the Hardy Brain, the show that takes athletic, introverted entrepreneurs and leaders and transforms them into ironclad brain performers. I'm your host, Dr. David Hardy. And today on our show, we've got another amazing guest. He is a former U.S. Olympic bobsledder, a brain health advocate, and is on a mission to make hyperbaric oxygen therapy available for those suffering from concussions and brain injuries. Welcome to the show, William Person. How are you doing today?
Man, I'm doing pretty good, and thank you for having me. Thank you for
Oh,
having me.
absolutely.
I,
Yeah,
I I
this
know you.
is,
I
yeah,
know you're
go
supposed to
ahead.
be interviewing me, but you've already said some sound bites that I have to pick your brain on. So I really hope that, yeah, you've said some things that man has really just sparked my interest.
Oh,
I'm so
absolutely.
happy to be
Yeah.
here. Yeah,
Yeah, and that's the thing about the world of concussions and brain injuries is there's so much that needs to be explored and that people just aren't aware of. And I know you've been through quite the journey here, and you've seen others that have struggled and suffered. But you were able to make yourself better and get back on track here. But before that happens, let's give people a background of your athletic career here, because you're an Olympic athlete, and not just that, you're in a sport that reaches high speeds. Like bobsled has got to be a rush. Like, what kind of drew you
yeah.
to it, and what was your initial career like getting into the sport?
Well, that's one thing I rather kind of clear up really quick. Yeah, I raced for 9 years for Team USA. I raced World
Yeah.
Championships, Olympic trials, World Cup. Um, I don't even want to. I hate to bring it in here, but sometimes it gets a little bit touchy because I technically didn't race on Olympic Day. So
Oh no.
technically, yeah, I'm not technically Olympian guy, but if you look at all the statistics, it says different. Was I the number one athlete in the country as a brakeman? Yeah, one. Number two, yeah. Um, but I'll put it this way: U.S. just got audited. They had an internal audit done, actually external audit, and
Okay.
the paperwork literally says the good old boy system. And so when I was
Oh
racing, they
yeah.
warned me. Yeah, they warned me. They told me, hey, it's the good old boy system here, but it's getting better. And I didn't believe them. I was like, this is 2000. Like, there's no way in the world the good old boy system is surviving with the U.S. Olympic team. But I left in 2007. The audit was done in 2022,
So when you
and
say this good old boy system, what do you mean by that?
it means if you, according to the paperwork,
Hmm.
and also to the paperwork that I filed with the USOC back in like 2002, 2003. I've filed a few things. Like if you're a black athlete, you just don't get the same thing. Matter of fact, a couple of times I went to Canada for training camp, and I was like on one day I was the number. The first day I was the number one push times. On day two, I had the number one push times. On day three, they kicked me out and made me train with the ladies. So those are some of the things that kind of happened during my career up there. And it's always around the Olympic year when they do that to me. It was
Oh,
another
geez.
year. Same thing happened another time. It was once again I was in Canada. Stephen Holcomb was my roommate. He's one of the best drivers for the last 15 years until he took his life at the Olympic Training Center. Like
Oh, wow.
yes, I was his brakeman at the World Championships in 2003, but he let me be his roommate because the federation, you know, didn't want to fund me. Didn't want to, you know, it didn't matter that I was the last brakeman from the World Championships. It's kind of just what it was, and I don't want to get dark or deep or anything like that, but I just want to make sure that because sometimes if you say the word Olympian and they be like, oh, that guy's not an Olympian, but no, guys, I I
You
put
were
my
in the
time in.
sport and you were going for it. And yeah, world championships is definitely a
Yeah,
huge thing. And as you mentioned, yeah,
yeah.
sports are very political, and
Woo.
there's so many
Yeah.
reasons why people get pushed aside or not in squads. But to have that
Yeah.
happen before the Olympics, you must have been like devastated here.
It happened to me over a 9 year career. So it's just like
Wow.
you just kind of hope this shit won't happen again. It's not gonna. and
Hmm.
it's just it is what it is, and uh, some things I have to learn to let go, and that was one of them. But I
Right.
felt so much more justified, like now that the audit happened from an external company, and it still lists in there. It physically says the good old boy system in there, and
Really.
I was like, man, I
Jeez.
told you guys this way back 20 years ago. I was telling you guys this,
Yeah.
So yeah,
So it's not just around what happened with you then physically. It was also there's changes that needed to be made in bobsled in the organization. Beyond that, there's also this mental pressure that goes far beyond just competing at a world stage. It's
yeah.
the backstabbing and the politics and drama
Oof.
in the sport as well.
Yeah,
Wow.
man. I tell you what, even to this day, like if you see my water bottles, I don't have any around here right now, but when I drink it, I automatically, as I'm drinking, I'm squeezing it. And so when I put the top on, it's like, it's all concaved in. And that's because, like, you kept hearing these stories of, like, this athlete put some steroids in this guy's water bottle or that thing and contaminate him. Now he's got a dirty drug test. Now he's out of here. Everybody's fighting for your job all the time. So you get a little bit paranoid. And so you learn just to kind of
Wow.
protect yourself a little bit. So, but yeah, it's really cut. It's the one sport I can tell you um, that you learn who you cannot count on. Most team sports, you learn who you can count on. But the
Yeah.
bobsled community, it was just so cutthroat. You know, people just even
Wow.
offer me side deals. Okay, race with my team, and then we can get rid of your driver. Then you automatically go into the world championships or whatever it may. And I was like, I just don't play that kind of game, guys. I just, I got to
Good.
do it the old
Excellent.
fashioned way. Yeah, and I stuck with that,
Right.
and I feel good about it. Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. Now, do you see that it's a sport that needs to be expanded then? Do there need to be more sleds?
No, honestly, I can't speak for the other countries, but
Hmm.
since I like when I kind of figured out kind of what was going on, I filed a class action lawsuit, and it was something you just said was one of the main reasons I filed it. There was two main reasons. One, I knew it was too late for me. I was cloudy. I was confused. Man, like the life that I have been I've had to live since. It's been really awful. Like I originally thought I
Wow.
was becoming a diabetic because I had this bouts of like low energy, and so
Hmm.
every night before I go to bed, I drank two things that I put on my nightstand, two things that I never drank before, which was black coffee or coffee period, and Coca Cola. I didn't drink soda, and I began to live off of that after the sport. And I just thought I had low blood sugar.
Wow.
Okay, um, I'm diabetic. Doctors were
Hmm.
checking me for years and like, no, you're not. And I was like, your tests are wrong, man. Like it's you got to be wrong. This has to be it. And the truth is, when I figured out what it really was, I got the worst case scenario. Like I was assuming. I just wanted to give me a little shot. I need some insulin, and I'm gonna be fine. No,
Yeah.
yeah, and I was slowly fading, and yeah, it's brutal. It's still brutal. I still have those days sometimes, but I don't have all bad days anymore because of the hyperbaric.
Right.
Yeah, it's
So,
been a
so
blessing.
this must have been happening during kind of the end of your career as well. Then, so you've got all the stress that's happening from the backstabbing and everything you mentioned, but on top of
Yeah,
that, of course, you're doing run after run, and there's crashes, isn't there?
yeah, absolutely. You know what? I was blessed. I crashed that I can remember 7 times over a 9-year career. But I do know
Okay.
people who crash 17 times a year. Like
Oh, I've
there were
heard of
some
it. Like,
people.
yeah, and like with
Yeah.
the skeleton racers, I remember being in the brain center when I was in Atlanta and talking to one, and she had some real bad post concussion, and she mentioned that the one that really got her was that there was almost like a block of ice sticking out of the track, and when the skeleton
Mm,
racer goes down, they put their face and helmet
yeah.
against the ice, and
Yeah.
each little bump is like being punched in the face. And she
Yeah.
said this one punched and knocked her out. And then
Wow.
I worked with other bobsledders there, and they're like, "Oh, this is a full contact sport, even if you don't crash."
Yeah.
Like, just
But
explain what it's like to be in this sled. Like, how
well, I
what's
got
the
to say one more.
speed and what's happening?
Well, that's the other thing. It was one point I left out. Well, put it this way. I didn't. You just mentioned people were getting treatment, like right? They were
Yeah,
getting help. And when I filed this case, I was hoping, like I said, somebody has the answers. And until
right,
I file this case and get it into the press, we won't get these answers. And so I didn't know there was help. Like, would you like if I didn't know better, I would ask you, what do you mean there was help? Because there was a bobsledder who talked. I was reading between the lines. She was talking about she wasn't herself. She was apologizing to her partner and her friends and the coaches for her behavior because she wasn't herself. So I'm reading between the lines because now I kind of know what this thing might be, you know.
right.
And she said they sent her somewhere to get help, and I was like, I was jealous. I was like, what do you? I was shocked. First of all, what do you mean you got help? There's help for this thing because I
Right.
remember my first crash was in Saint Moritz, Switzerland. Um, and on that day, I actually wasn't braking. I'm usually at a brakeman, but on that day, I wasn't braking. So the guy sitting behind me was knocked unconscious. I had
Wow.
vertigo
Yeah.
extremely. I had extremely bad vertigo, and so they sent us back to the hotel, and they told us
Yeah.
our. Let me see. My physical therapy was making sure he doesn't go to sleep, and his physical therapy was making sure I don't go to sleep.
And
So
that is so
how?
old and outdated.
Yes,
Yeah. What that advice was about was is if there's a bleed, then yeah, of course people become incoherent and things. And
yeah,
everything back in the day around head injuries was, yeah, let's make sure that it's not something that's like a bleed or a stroke or something in that nature.
yeah,
And
yeah.
completely ignore the fact that your brain just got jostled around and needs rest to start to heal.
Absolutely. And my
Like,
question is,
yeah,
who was supposed to watch you? Like, I couldn't sit up in the bed without the room spinning, and he was already
yeah,
knocked unconscious. Like, who was really supposed to watch you? And it's just like
insanity. But
it's yeah,
that's what the advice was back then. And this isn't too long ago. Like
yeah,
your career was from 99 to '07, right?
correct,
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah. And when I was first going through kind of the studies in functional neurology, that would have been, oh, I graduated in 13. So when I was in these clinics observing the functional neurology doctors working on athletes, bobsled, skeleton, NHL players, a
Yeah,
couple ex NFL guys, and yeah, it was like brand new. Like we were in like an offsite of a chiropractic university, and there was
wow,
doctors flying in from all around the world to observe what was going on. And like it
wow,
really was the forefront of, yeah, how do we get these athletes better because this isn't working? And of course,
yeah,
since then, more and more has come out, and more people are starting to claim they know how to treat concussions, and the credentialing's not
yeah,
there across the board either. But yeah, you fell into that period where it was kind of the end of the era, and probably what you were doing and advocating for, I would imagine, was a big push for these entities
yeah.
that realized,
They're
yeah,
mad at me. They're mad at me.
we're killing our athletes. Like,
Yeah,
yeah. And you mentioned this was going on. Like this was not just you, that this is something that was happening all the time in the sport, correct?
yeah.
Like
I took
like the
between
term
one.
you I hadn't heard this term, but sledhead.
Yeah,
I've heard punch drunk, but never sledhead. What is it
yeah.
with bobsled then?
It's pretty much the same thing. Like, so you can go down a track and like even if that track is smooth, like you
Mm-hmm.
still gonna feel a little bit of something when you leave that sled. Oh, matter of fact, I've connected a few dots since then. There was an article written by the New York Times in December of 2024, and someone sent it to me. Okay, let me
Hmm.
give you the backstory. When we take the sleds down the track on the big race days, sometimes we have what we call forerunners. We'll send some people down to just trying to test the equipment, timing eyes. So we send VIPs down. So one time we sent down fighter pilots. Now they pull more G
They pull a
forces,
lot of G's.
yeah,
Yeah.
supposedly. But however,
Right.
when they got out the sled, man, they were shook up and rattled. And I was like, that doesn't make sense. Like how you guys are the baddest of the baddest, you know. I see what the G force machines they put those guys in, and no, like they were rattled when they got out of that sled. And so the new article that came out, it was all about the pilots. They have the identical issues as the bobsledders with
Right.
Parkinson's, dementia, uh, depression, suicide. It's across the board the same thing. And so for me, like what I realized, it's not just the concussions because we might get the subconcussions, which is I know those are dangerous, extremely dangerous because we don't get the extreme symptoms that make you go sit down. You can kind of
Right.
keep going through it, but it's still doing damage to you. I believe you're getting a subconcussion every time you go down that track now. That's what I believe.
Yeah.
And for but here's the last part of that story. For years, I was on the line. I was emailing anybody who would listen. Guys, I think we're pulling more G forces than they're letting us know. They said we only pulled five, but this cannot be. Something's not right here. And so I was speaking to Pavle Jovanovic's family. He's one of the bobsledders who took his life. And I was telling them that story. This was about 4 or 5 months ago. And the guy told me, he said, you guys pull 84.5 Gs. I said, no, that's too much. There's no way we can pull 84 or 85 Gs and still be alive like this. He said, go back and check the article Sledhead. Now, meanwhile, when I read Sledhead, that's the article that helped save my life because it talked about all my teammates' injuries before they started to take their lives and stuff. And I read the article over 30 times, and it was right there in the article that I've read 30 times. And when I went back to read it, it's like I was reading it for the first time. And so one thing with the concussions, it will strip that memory really. The short term
Really
stuff, try
quick.
to learn new things. Yeah, it's that's one of the hardest things right now. Is just trying to just keep up with today's society, you know,
Yeah.
and knowing that your memory is going to be going just like that. You don't, but yeah,
Yeah. And it's such a crash too for athletes and high performers that they don't realize this, or other people don't realize it, is you've gone from peak performance shape where things are just so crisp and firing so fast.
yeah,
And the thing with the brain is everything is so interconnected
yeah,
that everybody thinks it's just, they're so used to the healthcare model of this symptom equals that. But in the brain,
yeah,
it's a network of things. And you mentioned the
yeah.
G forces. Well, the biggest sensory stimulation going into the brain is proprioception, feedback from muscles and joints. So it's
Hmm.
basically gravity.
Okay.
And then, yeah, there's sight, vision, everything else, interoception, feedback from organs. And the brain is a sensory organ. It's processing all of this and connecting the dots in between systems and what it needs to do. So when
Wow.
one gets jostled around, then other parts of the brain start to go. And the
Wow.
example I use, like, yeah, when people have that vertigo or even a low grade sensation of that or decline in that system is, well, how well do you function if I spin you around, made you dizzy, and then asked you math problems? Like,
Oh
it doesn't
man.
happen. It doesn't
It,
happen.
yeah. Yeah. Remember that was
Yeah.
one of my one thing that I learned for myself. Like I have a lot of days where before the chamber I was cloudy like 24/7. Like I was always cloudy. Like every day when I woke up, I had like a little planner next to my bed, and in that planner, it's hard to even say this, but when I wake up, I had to figure out like is it Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday,
Yeah.
and then every day when I wake up, when I Once I figure out the day, I got to figure out the month. I'm stuck in between
Wow.
2 months. It's usually January and August. I always think it's between January and August. I don't know why those 2 months, but my brain was stuck in a loop for quite a while. And yeah, it's man. And if you looked at my place in California, like I had these long 8 foot scrolls on my wall, and they're like 8 feet long and about 2 feet tall. And I was just writing all over my walls for years, and that's the only way I could just kind of keep from falling behind in life. Like I had to write down appointments, bills due, if I have to work that day, or like, yeah, it was just,
Right. And
yeah,
these
it's
are
just,
like
yeah,
basic living day skills.
yeah. And
Wow.
before I leave the house every day, what I learned to do, I started doing this thing, and it actually got me into trouble at one point with some of my credit cards. Um, I'm an advocate without for not swiping bank cards in stores, and because certain times of years they still our information down here and start hacking your accounts, your bank accounts. So I always tell people, don't once you get past June, getting close to the end of the year, do not don't use those cards. Just cash, cash, cash. So I started going to the store, and so let's imagine I have to go buy a sandwich, and it costs $5.22, and I give them a $10 bill. I would catch myself staring off into space. I'm literally at the cash register like this, and I'm trying to figure out how much change to get back. I couldn't figure out how much change to get back. And when I was in college, like I was an electrical engineering student, so my background is math and science. And so I here I am. I can't figure out spare change, and I was having these little meltdowns.
Wow.
And but I learned every day before I leave the house, give myself a math problem. If I can't solve it, don't buy anything that day. Don't make any decisions. It's important decisions. And so I was
Right.
slowly kind of creating this protection for myself. Yeah, and that's how I kind of made it. It was like that was my self medicating for me was just putting plan into place to fix this thing a little bit. Once I
So
figured out kind of yeah,
you were still going through the process of, okay, well, no, let's figure things out, or get through things is probably the best way to put it.
probably get
And
through it. I
others
said,
others going through the same thing, and how are
yeah,
they coping?
not very good. I don't see the problem with bobsledding is first of all, we already spoke about it being a cutthroat sport.
Yeah.
So when I left that sport, like most athletes, we all go back to our little corner of the world. We just all, and so we don't keep up with each other. So we all started to suffer in silence, and we
Oh, of
weren't
course.
talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, we weren't talking and connecting the dots until we see a suicide, and then we start talking about it, and then you know, oh, poor such and such, and and the next thing you know, there was nothing done to put things in place, and it's just repeating itself. And some people, like when suicides happen, they weren't telling us. It was just like these
Really?
secrets. Yeah, yeah. I found out so much
Wow.
more since I filed the case and stuff. So um, yeah, there were so many more people just thanking me because they actually attempted suicide. Um, other ones who had several attempts, and like just no one knew. No one knew. Yeah.
Wow. And what was kind of the lead up before somebody would commit suicide? Um,
Well, for me, one of my buddies, like doing the sport, like I said, it's such a weird people's up there sometimes. Probably John, probably Jovanovic. He's one of the suicides as well. But doing the sports, we weren't friends. We were acquaintances. But after the sport, like I was a writer. I came to L.A. and like before this, I was like writing like reality TV stuff and sell it to the networks or things like that, scripted shows or try to get those things. So it's a tough hustle, but that's what I was doing. And so Pavle wanted to uh, become a writer, so he would call me and we go over some concepts. And this like I just kind of connected the dots. About 3 or 4 days ago. Like some of the stories he was telling me, concepts, I thought it was creative writing, and I was encouraging him, but it wasn't that. His brain was starting to, you know, was starting to fade already. And so eventually, another time he called me, very last time he called me, he was speaking a gibberish. Like I don't know what he was saying. He was just like rah, 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 yeah. And I was like, what? And he got so frustrated, he hung up the phone. And I told myself, I said, I have to get him some help. So one of my backgrounds is before when I joined Team USA at that time, I wrote one of the first ever independent living transitional housing programs for youth in the state of Utah. And so the state opened me up as a pilot program. And so my background was mental health. Like I've worked with people
Okay.
from uh, the first place I worked at after college was this place. It was San Joaquin County Mental Health. It's the first mental health department west of the Mississippi River. So you see all the extreme behaviors came there. So I cut my teeth from people who were, depressed all the way to the criminally insane. So that's where my passion is, helping people. And so I had a youth treatment facility at the time when I started bobsledding. So anyway, so when Pablo was struggling, I was telling myself every day, I have to get him some help. I got to do this. And I didn't do anything. Like I talked about it to myself every day. And then eventually I got the word that he went to his family's factory and he hung himself. And then the guilt of that just like it crippled me, and I just really, I struggled for a long time about that. I felt responsible because
Right.
I knew something was wrong and I didn't do anything. And the truth of it is, once he once they did his autopsy, he was in stage 4 of CTE. I realized I couldn't help him. Number one, and number two, like I needed help. I couldn't help him because I needed help. At that time, I had already taken the mattress off of my bed and put it in my living room. And I was literally like, I can crawl to my kitchen, I can crawl to my bathroom. I wasn't even worried about myself. Here I am trying to help this guy. Like, no, you need to take care of yourself first. And I didn't even know how bad I was because I'm still thinking this is diabetes. It's kicking my butt. It's got to be low blood
Right.
sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, your
yeah,
brain's jostled and using so much energy just to be alive.
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
definitely, yeah.
So, what got you help?
Well,
How did you find things that made a difference for you?
well, first of all, like when you do the research for CTE and people living with it, oh my God, it was brutal. It was like this guy killed his wife. He beat up his partner. He did this, and I was like, whoa, there's no surviving this thing. Like that. And so what I did, I one day, one of my clear days, I was doing some research. Joe Namath said he reversed his symptoms. Now he never said what his symptoms were or how it reversed his symptoms. So, but according to the doctors I spoke to and the research I did, I had nothing left, and everything I tried didn't work. So I I went down and I tried hyperbaric oxygen, and I didn't expect it to work. But I tell you what, man, when I spent 1 hour in this chamber, and it's the funny part is like when I came out, like I wear my glasses are a little bit tinted because I'm sensitive to lights, sounds, and smells, and so but I didn't know this. But now I have tinted glasses. But so anyway, I get out this chamber and I put my glasses on and I take them off and put them on and take them off, and I'm doing this for a couple minutes, and the salesman says, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know. I don't think I need my glasses right now." And he said, "Oh, you one of those?" And I was like, "Okay, here come the salesman. He's gonna sell me. I don't have 20 grand laying around to buy this machine, but no, he was right. Some people get immediate relief, and some people
Hmm.
get like they need like 50 sessions within like 30 days.
Right.
And so, but for me, I get an immediate relief. But the problem for me
Nice.
is that the I try to be really open about this. Like I want to open up a CT wellness center where people can come get free treatment. That's what I'm working on right now. So I bought a lake house during COVID, and it's just you know. So just about 2 weeks ago. No, I'm sorry, about a month ago, I went there, and no, I'm sorry, it's been a couple months now. I spent about 5, 6 weeks there. So for me, after about 3 to 4 weeks, my cloudiness slowly starts to creep back. I'm kind of tied to that machine. Like if I stop using it, I resort back to what I was. Some people say I just need a higher pressure chamber, but the research says the lower pressure works better for the mental health.
Hmm.
So I don't really have all the answers for that. But what I do
Yeah,
know, it
and
gives me,
yeah,
yeah,
let's sort of fill in the blanks here because what an important thing you said. And yeah, hyperbaric oxygen therapy is amazing and it's going to help the healing process. But if
yeah,
things are still kind of dysfunctional and firing incorrectly, then of course that's going to eventually cause more damage or
yeah,
recurring damage in the brain, or overuse is another way to put it, or just dysfunction. So,
yeah,
yeah, it's a very amazing tool, but one tool by itself is just one tool by itself.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely,
And yeah, I definitely encourage people, yeah, if you found the most powerful tool, still use it. Absolutely.
yeah,
But look for the other ones that are going to make a difference for the brain. And that's what we do in functional neurology is we figure out what parts of the brain are kind of dysfunctional and then match tools up to what's
yeah.
going on.
Well, that's
So,
another one of the problems. Like before, when I owned my own company and when I had
mhm.
meaningful jobs, like I had pretty decent insurance. Now, my
Yeah.
God, I can't work in the same field. Um,
Oh, geez.
yeah,
Being
my
in
brain.
Canada, everybody says, oh, Canada's got free healthcare. And I've been on with
Yeah,
other practitioners and we go, it's not free for brain injuries.
wow. I do
Like,
remember
it's out
catching
of
strep
pocket.
throat up there. Yeah, and I went to the doctor up there in Canada, and they
Yeah.
actually were treating me for
But
free until they found out I was American. Then they charged me $60. But that was a blessing, 60 bucks. Cool. Antibiotics
yeah, there's
included.
differences
Wow.
in each health system. And right now, yeah, as we talked about earlier, and this is why I applaud you on the advocacy and taking a stand, is that changes need to be made for people who are suffering from these conditions. And yeah, we look back and we're like, oh, well, 2013 was so long ago. Like, that's over a decade now. Uh,
Right.
2007, even longer. And it's like, well, actually, in health fields, research wise, that's not a long time. But
Well,
things
yeah,
need to be accelerated and people need to be able to get the care they need. Now, you're
yeah,
also doing some work here so that people can afford things. And you started a GoFundMe page, correct?
yeah. I bought this lake house, and it's such a serene area. It's out. I'm about 50 miles outside of St. Louis. And the truth was, it was my place to go when I was struggling because I was cloudy. I was getting lost in my own neighborhood at the time. So when I bought this place, it gave me a place to go where I can be safe. Like I'm not going to get lost 100 yards from my backyard where my lake is, or I'm just give me a place to be. I'm going to be safe. And I had planned on just staying there until it was my time to go. And I thought my time was coming soon. Like for example, when I filed the court case. I never asked for anything for myself. I always told my law team, just take care of my guys. I was so far gone, like I didn't think there was any coming back for me. Like that's one of the things about the hyperbaric oxygen. Like I'm sure I was in dementia. There's no way in the world you can tell me anything different. Like yeah, when you get to that point where you can't read very well, you can't write, you can't do math. Lost in my own neighborhood. I lived here for like 5, 6 years, 7 years at the time. It was just brutal. And yeah, the oxygen just really it'll balance me. It'll really
Right.
balance
Yeah.
me. And I give Joe Namath all the credit because without him, like I wouldn't have found this stuff. And but the thing is, like with him, like he never gave us the details. So like I have a TikTok station where when I started using the chambers, I started making recordings and documenting it. I didn't know if it was gonna where it was going to take me. I didn't know how well it was going to do. I knew the first time I tried it, I was not cloudy for 6 days. And when I went back, I was not cloudy for 9 days. So I knew it worked, but
Right.
I
Yeah.
just, yeah, yeah. And there was one time where actually I was feeling so good, I felt normal. Like I was like, oh wow, I beat this thing. Okay, Joe Namath was right. I got it. Okay, so I called his people, and I was like,
Yes.
just tell him thank you. And they said, what can he do for you? I was like, he already did it. What do you mean? What can he do for me, man? He gave me some life back. I could see colors again. Like the lights are bright, everything out, you know. And so they said, if you ever need something, just send it to us in writing and we'll see what we can do. I said, I don't need anything. I'm grateful. So I always give him all the credit. Some people like, they try to give me the credit. Like, no, 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 no. I'm not that guy, man. I'm just, matter of fact, all my stuff says one man with a chamber. Joe Namath had a team of doctors. And so I'm really hoping to sit and talk with him one day and figure out what he did. Maybe it's something that I could do differently that's going to uh, keep me
Absolutely.
from going backwards a little bit. Yeah.
Hmm.
But like, and then, I don't know if you know this one gentleman, man. There was a gentleman. Um, he lived in the iron lung for 57 years. He passed last year. I really need to find out what his name is because I should not talk about him when I know his name. But he had such a great attitude about being in that iron lung for so long. Like, and for me, like you do hyperbaric you do 5 days a week, it becomes a chore. So sometimes I
Oh,
just don't want to
absolutely.
climb in through the zippers and like it's just like I don't want to do it. Like after meeting that guy or listening to this guy talk, he has such a great attitude. It put things into perspective, and I was like, you know what? I'm never complaining again. I'm going to get as many of these things I can get, and I'm going to make them accessible to everybody. They can come to my place and get free treatment. And
So,
so that's what I'm
William,
really working on right now. That's what I'm
yeah,
working on.
William,
Yes.
that's why people are reaching out to you. Is that yeah, you're able to communicate and to get this out to them. So, how do people find out more about what you're doing? How do they reach out to you?
I'll send you guys my links, but I have a website. It's still being built, so I apologize. But it'll be one man with
Hmm.
the chamber. All of my social
Nice.
media says one man with the chamber. I don't claim to be anything that I'm not. Yeah, I'm not here to do harm. I'm just here to share my
Right.
experiences. But I have so many
Yeah.
people like reaching out, like they- it's the same stuff over and over. And one thing that I've figured out,
Yes.
like I was watching the military guys. They come back from the compression blast. It's the same treatment.
Same
And
things. Yep.
yeah, I said I have to include them. I have to include them. So I want to treat athletes. Well, this is the thing. If at my lake house, I got 3 bedroom, 2 bath. It's like 4 acres. It's plenty of space. I would have to build out, but to
Yeah,
start out, if I get the
you're not
equipment,
a hospital there,
yeah,
William,
I'm not a
but
hospital.
yeah, you're
Yeah, yeah,
trying to, and
yeah,
the main thing is, yeah, those stories are very impactful for people,
yeah,
and then what you're doing with the GoFundMe, I think, is very very valuable and needs to be expanded. So we'll put
yeah.
the links
Absolutely,
in those in the
absolutely.
show notes here, and people, if you're suffering from this, reach out. There's a lot more, and of course, people are now in social media. So find the people you resonate with, and let's get people better. And I really
Yeah,
applaud you for the work you're doing there, William, and the stances you've taken. So we will get this out there,
yeah. I
and
appreciate it.
once again,
Well,
thank you for your time and your continued passion for this. And we appreciate it. So thank you.
thank you. I
And for
appreciate it.
everyone listening, reach out. And also stay tuned to the next episode of The Hardy Brain, the show that takes athletic, introverted entrepreneurs and leaders and transforms them into ironclad brain performers. Take care.